In a forest full of big trees and the songs of happy birds, there lived a deer content with his simple life. He had a cozy shelter, plenty of food, and fresh water to drink whenever he wanted. He loved walking, smelling the flowers, listening to the birds, and saying hi to the other animals. He was so friendly that everyone liked him. One day, while exploring the forest, the deer found a different path. Curiosity struck, and he decided to follow him. The path took him to a more hidden part of the forest, where there was a giant gray rock. From the top of the rock, he dripped a drop of water that formed a well. The deer approached and took a drink of water. How delightful! It was sweet, clean, and so refreshing. He decided that that water was the best in the world and promised himself that he would only drink from that place from now on. Every day, several times a day, the deer visited the magic pool. He became so addicted that he stopped exploring the forest and playing with the other animals. He just thought about drinking more and more water, thinking it would make him happier. But what the deer didn't know was that that water had magical power. The more he drank, the thirstier he felt. He got stuck in a crazy cycle of always wanting more and never being satisfied. Each sip of that water brought a little pleasure, but it also left the deer more distressed and empty. And so, little by little, the deer's happiness was being sucked away by its never-ending thirst. The deer wanted more and more water, but he was never satisfied. He felt alone and sad, but he couldn't stop drinking. He ended up forgetting his friends, his family, his hobbies, and even his dreams. All that mattered was the source. The other animals in the forest noticed the change in the deer. He was no longer seen walking through the forest, his laughter was no longer heard, and his presence was no longer felt. Some were worried and went looking for him, while others saw his absence as an opportunity to take advantage of him. Among these was Zorro, always ready for a cunning plan. If you haven't yet written on the channel, take the opportunity to write and leave a like so that this content reaches more people who need to hear this story. The Zorro found out about the magical spring that made the deer addicted. He thought about how he could benefit from it and went there. He found the deer drinking greedily. With a fake smile, the Zorro approached and said, "Hello, dear friend. It's been a long time since I've seen you in the forest." "Hello, friend Zorro," replied the deer. "I'm here drinking from this wonderful fountain. Do you want to try it?" "Of course, dear friend," replied the Zorro. "But why do you drink so much? Wouldn't a little be enough?" "No, my friend," explained the deer. "This water is incredible. I can't stop drinking it. It's good for me, but it's also bad for me. It quenches my thirst, but it also makes me restless," said the deer. "I understand, dear friend," said the Zorro. "I need to tell you something. This water is not normal. It is magic. It traps you and controls you. The more you drink, the more you want, and the more you want, the more you suffer. It makes you want more than you need and takes away your inner peace. What do you say?" "How do you know that? And what can I do to stop drinking, dear deer?" asked the Zorro. "I know everything. I am the smartest and wisest fox in the forest, and I will help you free yourself from this water. But in return, you must give me something." "What are you willing to give me, dear deer?" proposed the fox. "I want your skin. It's so soft, so beautiful, so warm. If you give it to me, I'll tell you how to stop drinking from that fountain," said the fox. "You are crazy, dear fox. How can I give you my skin? How can I live without it?" exclaimed the deer, frightened. "Don't be foolish. Your skin is of no use. What is good for you is this water, but it harms you. I can get rid of it, but you must give me your skin. It's a fair exchange, dear deer. Think about it," persuaded the fox. The deer was confused and scared. He didn't know whether he should believe the fox, whether he should give his skin or not. He was lost, not knowing what to do. Meanwhile, the fox waited anxiously, hoping that the deer would fall into his trap. But suddenly, a wise owl flew into the sky. She saw what was happening and landed on a nearby branch. The owl knew both the stag and the fox. She knew that the deer was good and honest, deceived by the spring water, and that the fox was cunning and malicious, wanting to take advantage of the deer. She decided to intervene and help her friend. In his clear, firm voice, the owl said, "Dear deer, don't listen to the fox. She's lying to you. She doesn't want to help you. She just wants to trick you. She doesn't know how to free you from the water. She just wants to hurt you. The fox is not your friend. It is your enemy. The deer was surprised to hear the owl. He looked up and saw the owl on the branch. He knew that the owl was respected and always told the truth. "Who are you, dear owl? How do you know all this?" asked the deer. The owl replied, "I am the owl, the guardian of the forest. I see everything and I know everything. This water is not normal. It is magical. It traps you and makes you suffer. The more you drink, the more you want it, and the more you suffer. It makes you want more than you need and takes away your peace. What do you say? How do you know that? And what can I do to stop drinking?" asked the deer. "I learned from my own experience. I also drank this water when I was young and reckless. I became addicted and forgot everything. But one day I realized my mistake and decided to stop. It was difficult, but I did it. Now I am the owl you see, old woman, but wise, ugly, but happy." "How did you stop drinking?" asked the deer. "Stopping and finding other sources of water. At first, it seemed dull, but over time, I realized there were many other things in the forest to enjoy," replied the owl. "I will find friends again and feel free, and I will learn from my experience and from your wisdom, dear deer. I am glad that you believe in me and are grateful. You have made me happy and honored me. I wish you all the best and I offer you my friendship. And I will tell you one thing. You will not regret your decision. You will see how your life improves and your joy increases." The deer and the owl hugged and said goodbye. The deer left the fountain and continued along the path. The owl sat on the branch and watched him leave. Meanwhile, the fox, who had heard the entire conversation, was left with his mouth open and his hands empty. His plan had failed, and he would not get the deer's skin. Feeling frustrated and angry, the fox left the fountain, cursing the owl and the deer. But the deer's story doesn't end here. He had to overcome many difficulties to stop drinking from the fountain and return to his normal life. He fought his addiction, his temptation, his weakness. He had to regain his health, his joy, his confidence. Rebuild your friendship, your family, your dream. Learn to be happy again. On this journey, the deer was not alone. He had the support of a faithful friend, the rabbit. Since childhood, they shared many adventures. The rabbit, always happy, friendly, and brave, was the deer's best friend. When he learned of the fountain's trap, he went to offer help. "Dear friend, don't let the spring water fool you. True happiness lies in returning to our simple lives and sharing moments with those we love. Did you know that there's a water fountain here in the forest that looks magical? But look, it's not as cool as it seems. In fact, it leaves you always wanting more, as if there's never enough. And the worst thing is that it messes with your inner peace. But calm down, there's no need to despair. Just take a break from this water and go back to living your good life. Thanks for the tip, bunny friend. But look, it's not that simple. This water is so delicious that it's hard to stop drinking it. It makes me happy, but it also makes me feel bad. It quenches my thirst, but it seems to only increase. I'm in a dilemma here, bunny. Now what? But I have an idea. You can trust yourself and your will. Remember what the owl and I talked about? Think about what you lost and what you can gain back. Feel the affection of your friends and family. Look at the beauty of life around you. You can do it, my dear friend." The deer heard the rabbit's words and was moved. The rabbit was always his best friend, and his words were sincere and full of affection. The deer realized that the rabbit was right, and that he had the strength within him to stop drinking from that fountain. With determination, the deer said to the rabbit, "You're absolutely right, my fellow rabbit. I can stop drinking this water. I'll go back to my normal life. I can be happy again. Thanks for your strength, bunny friend. You're awesome." Relax, we're in this together. Friends are always there to help. The two hugged each other, full of smiles. The deer felt a new determination, while the rabbit was brimming with pride and joy. Together, they set off through the forest, on a journey in which the deer was not alone. With the rabbit by his side, always encouraging and inspiring, and with other forest friends who supported and loved him, the deer felt stronger. And we cannot forget his will, which guided and freed him. And so ends our story of the deer and the fountain. a lesson that shows us how uncontrolled desire can trap us, but also how we can free ourselves when we choose what is good for us. A story that invites us to think about what really makes us happy.